Tonight's game. Shireen and I were talking about this earlier on PFT Live. This is a huge game for the 49ers. This is massive. This is as must-win as a Week 6 game could ever be. They're 0-2 in the division, 0-3 in the conference, going to Seattle. Brock Purdy's 4-0 against Seahawks. Geno Smith is 0-4 against 49ers. And the 49ers, Chris, need this one badly.
Yeah, no, there's no question. I mean, the 49ers, I still think, are a really good football team. But, you go down 2-4 and you get to 2-4 and you start to panic a little bit, definitely. And then you're up against it. Then there's very little wiggle room for the rest of the year. So they need to get back to 500, certainly. I think they're the better team than the Seattle Seahawks. I don't think there's any doubt about that. I look at it also and just go, like in 2 out of their 3 losses, they outplayed the other team, right? So there is some silver lining there. I know you're not going to feel a whole lot better when you lose a game no matter what. But I don't have any doubt watching back Arizona, San Francisco, the better team is the 49ers. And the same thing with the 49ers-Rams game. A little unlucky with their field goal kicker getting hurt last week, a fumble at the end of the football game when they're about to really kind of put it away. That hurt them. Some special teams miscues in the Rams game. I broke down a little bit on my podcast yesterday just talking about their red zone woes. That's definitely been an issue, them getting in the end zone this year. They're one of the worst teams in football in the red zone. Last year, they were the best. So that's got to get corrected. I think tonight's the night it gets corrected. It's still a Seattle defense that's a little banged up. They're still learning the Mike McDonald system. As we saw last week, the Giants moved the ball up and down the field. The 49ers are going to be motivated today. I think Geno and that offense give the 49ers some issues. I think we see a fun kind of high-scoring game, but I'm going to go Niners clearly 31-21 on the road.
Do you put any credence into the fact that when Mike McDonald, the new head coach of the Seahawks, was with the Ravens last year, the Ravens befuddled and ultimately blew out the 49ers on Christmas night? Is that transferable at all? To a degree. Now, let's go back to that a little bit. Lamar Jackson made some incredible plays, right? That Brock Purdy and company got a little unlucky with tip pass interceptions and stuff like that as well. But he obviously has a little feel for how to defend the San Francisco 49ers and Shanahan. But he doesn't have the Ravens' defensive personnel, and he doesn't have Lamar Jackson this time around. And I think that's really the big difference. And I still think they're in a process of figuring out that scheme and all getting on the same page, where in Baltimore we know they were in that scheme for a long, long time and knew it like the back of their hand. Another question. Your assessment of Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
I saw a clip from our old friend Stats, who does 49ers podcasts. He accused Purdy of playing hero ball far too often. And before the season, Purdy talked about how he wants to be dominant like Tom Brady was. There were some ill-advised throws that I saw in that preseason game against the Saints. How has he looked to you overall, and are there times where he's trying to do too much?
I don't think so. I think he's actually having the best year. I mean, it hasn't been a long career, but I would say the best year of his career. He to me has made more plays this year outside the realm of, Shanahan has to deliver it for me, and then I take advantage of it, than I've ever seen before. I've seen more high-level throws for sure, too. He's had moments of where, maybe he tries to scramble and take over or do something like that. But at the same time, there's no, glaring mistakes of Brock Purdy that I look at to go, he's really pushing it, and playing too close to the edge there. Not at all. In fact, I went down, like I told you, with my red zone little breakdown on my podcast yesterday. If I would say anything, is he could be a little more aggressive in the red zone. That's why they haven't scored touchdowns. He's got to, you got to throw a few more lasers, throw the ball into tighter windows because the field is smaller. You got to scramble and make some awkward throws, and that's what you got to do. To me, he's been too conservative down there, so I don't know if I totally agree with Stats on that one.
His stats, not stats, but Purdy's stats,
right,
would suggest that it's the worst year of his career so far. Lowest completion percentage, it's a small sample size. It's only his third year. Lowest completion percentage, lowest touchdown percentage, tied for the highest in interception percentage, lowest passer rating, lowest yards per attempt, although 8.8 is still pretty damn good. I just look at a situation where the injuries create stress on the team.
They do.
What's the quarterback doing to elevate? Look at the Chiefs. Now, statistically, Mahomes isn't having his best year, but they're 5-0.
Yeah.
What is the quarterback doing to elevate out of the quicksand that the 49ers seem to be in?
I hear you there. And that's going to be the question always with Brock Purdy. I don't think he's the guy that elevates you out of the quicksand like we talked about. This is why I argued with people all last year going, he's not a top 5 quarterback. He's not a top 7 quarterback. Stop it. Stop. Those guys elevate like you're talking about. He does a lot of good things. There's no doubt about it. But, yeah, to me, the red zone woes and some of the stuff you've talked about and then the injuries and all that are all a little part of the problem. But having no Christian McCaffrey is certainly the biggest part of their problem. He is their biggest weapon on offense. He's their biggest schematical advantage they have against other teams, and they don't have that right now. And I think that's hurt him too, and they're trying to find their way. And then you couple Ayuk is not really on his A game, right? And he dropped passes early on in the football year. Debo was injured a little bit. Kittle's been banged up. So I think all those have played into the Purdy success factor. But hey, he's still leading the league right now in yards per attempt, and that does say something there. It does say that he's, pushing the ball a little bit.
Pasta and meatballs, immediate reaction when I looked at that game and sat down to come up with my score, 24-20 49ers. Let's move on. We spent a lot of time on that game. There are 13 others we need to get to.
Yo, homies, thanks for watching. Yeah, it's time. The NFL season is here on Chris Simms Unbuttoned.
You can hit subscribe to get all the weekly picks, plus our Sunday recaps as the games are happening.
Oh, you know it. Nobody does that better than us. Thanks again for watching. Remember to subscribe. Peace out. We'll see you next time on Unbuttoned.